So we are ready to start now. My name is Magnus Melander. I probably know most of you. I'm here, I work at Things in Stockholm, and I'm supposed to try to moderate this little event. We call ourselves the Deep Tech Hub in Stockholm, and we have been around for 6 years. We are devoted to the issue or challenge of transforming innovation in small companies to value creation in large through collaboration. And we do that together with about 50 what we call innovation companies who are focused on technology and solutions in the markets that we address. And we have about almost 50 corporates who are interested in working with us and with those smaller companies in order to drive their own digital transformation. We focus on industry, infrastructure, utilities, and mobility from a market's point of view, which to me means everything that relates to the physical world. And with the physical world comes a lot of challenges. It takes much longer time to make things, and things has to last longer. It's retrofitting things is more difficult in the physical world than in the digital world and so forth. So that's why we keep those focus areas. And from a technology point of view, we are not really trying to help people with the HR systems or anything like that. We are focusing on deep tech, meaning that we focus on things like IoT, robotics, AI, computer vision, automation, everything that's kind of difficult, let's put it that way. And in order to make our wishes come through, or our objectives come through at things, which is to help establish lasting business relationships between larger companies and innovation companies. We focus on innovation companies that are corporate ready, as we call it. This means that they are ready practically product-wise, company-wise, to engage themselves in long-lasting relationship with large companies, preferably internationally as well. And in order to help those companies throughout the challenges that arrived in March, when everything locked down and dropped down, all the projects stopped, all the purchase projects were killed and canceled, ongoing projects were stopped, large companies locked the door and threw away the key, and so forth. We decided to try to help those companies find new prospects and new partners through this event type eBazaar. And we have done 8 of those right now, and I think it works fairly well. We typically have about 50 or so people signing up every year from quite many countries. Today we are roughly 50, and we are from 8 countries, so that's great. I think we should stop there right now. The way this will work is that I will try to moderate it. I will ask people in the order to present to share the screen and come to present to us. I try to keep them in time. And they will speak for about 8 to 10 minutes, and hopefully there's a couple of minutes for Q&As, but we're really, it's really very focusing on stopping in time to let you go. With that, I also should tell you that we're going to send all of you a post-event mail with contact details to every single company that presents, and also a little bit of an evaluation form, if you like. We also record the event, so it's important to understand for presenters specifically, but also others, that this will be published, the whole presentation will be published on our YouTube channel afterwards. So I hope you sit comfortably now and are ready for a very nice and inspiring 1.5 hours. And I'm so happy to start to present our first speaker, who is Erik Persson from Hitachi-ABB Power Grids, who are also, they are also our event partners for this event. And Erik will give us a little bit of an introduction to what they do and where we're going and so forth. So are you there, Erik?
I'm here. Thank you, Magnus, for that introduction. I hope that you can all see my screen.
Yes, please. Yes, it's perfect.
Perfect. So I will take it away. So I think it is good to start now when we have been ABB, and now after the split, we are Hitachi-ABB Power Grids. So ABB decided to basically let the Power Grids system, that division, go, and now we are sort of being integrated into the Hitachi group company. So who are we? Just in short, to see 36,000 employees actually changed then from ABB to Hitachi. And that included 4 different business units. As you can see here, it was grid automation, grid integration, high voltage, and transformers. We have a global presence with more than 200 offices around the world in 19 countries. And I think what is interesting to see here in this picture is also that even though if you look here at the pie chart, the utilities are sort of our main customer, and then second comes the industry. But as the third most important one is transport and infrastructure, which we see now, for example, in Sweden with all the electrification within buses and trucks, and except then for just personal vehicles is ongoing. So that's what we do today. And as many of you remember, I mean, we started as a SEA, and then Brown Boveri came in. The merge happened 1988. And then now the next sort of really big step was this divestment of power grids to Hitachi. And we've been along, both Hitachi and ABB has been on the market for quite some time. So there is a lot of sort of heritage and knowledge inside of both those companies. So it will be really interesting now to see when Hitachi comes in more and more into power grids and what the sort of the common offering will be. In Sweden, we are 4,000 employees working for Hitachi-ABB power grids, more than 50 nationalities working here. And our main factory is in Ludvika. We also have offices in Västerås. We have a small office also in Figeholm, Landskrona, and Piteå. And we have sort of quite a big local presence in Sweden with through different, I mean, both local offices and service organization. If we look at this picture, you can actually see there where we have our offices around in Sweden. So they are spread from north to south, basically. Another important thing is that, I mean, if we look at Ludvika, where we just celebrated 120 years of innovation. And now this was, even though it was Corona times, we managed to pull this event off and to invite people then from Japan and from Switzerland, so to see and showcase what we can do in Ludvika. The 4 different business units that are within inside Hitachi Power Grids are actually focusing on grid automation, integration, and high voltage products and transformers. And here we have basically a complete portfolio. Many of you probably know HVDC and the FACTS solutions. We have and will continue to have a very strong presence if you look at what Sweden will be. So the main sort of driving seat is now in Sweden, even though our headquarters is still based in Switzerland. This is actually what I would like to come to, the new sort of areas where we are really expanding. And looking at what many of you probably are working with is, I mean, in center of everything, also for the utilities, is the digitalization. And we have developed a lot of software solutions there where we're focusing a lot on asset performance management. And now we are also merging to go on board a new sort of platform, which is Hitachi's platform called Lumada. And here also, I mean, this is also a call to see. I know there are a lot of startups here listening to this, because we have developed a lot of functionality, but still here we see that it will be possible for third parties to develop things on the Lumada platform to offer, for example, to utilities, etc. What I'm working with quite a lot at the very moment is the electrification of heavy transports in Sweden. And also here, except that we just released a new offering, which are focusing on large vehicles for charging, we are also, I mean, integrating different software solutions. So as you can see here, I mean, we come from, if you look at power grids, we know the grid connection, and we actually bring everything to the plug to the bus. So coming from that side and knowing all the challenges that you have inside the grid, that is sort of our package. And here we offer a sort of a complete solution with system integration. And this business is taking sort of off if you look at the bus market, but within the next coming years, we will also see the logistics centers going electric more and more. And I know that we have people here on board working a lot with the electrification of roads and vehicles as well. So in the center for Hitachi Power Grids is basically sustainable energy. That's in the core of what we are doing. Of course, we want to grow, and we want to grow with sort of still making earnings on that. Another important thing for Hitachi is that to have people. I mean, and people are still in the focus. So yeah, that's a little bit quick on what Hitachi Power Grid does.
Perfect, Eric. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry to keep you so short. So you should all know that Hitachi-ABB Power Grids is a partner to things, and they will appear in many other events that we do onward. So we will have a lot of ways and reasons and opportunities to connect you guys to them and back and forth. So they're part of the family now. Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you.
Let us jump to our next speaker, which is Mattias. Are you there, Mattias?
I am here.
Perfect. Mattias, share your screen and start to tell us the spectacular story about Epishine.
Yes.
I actually think you also bring some news, isn't it? A little bit.
Absolutely,
like
I will.
This will be a moment to remember for people, I think.
Absolutely, yes.
Great, take it away.
So, I would like to talk for you for a while about indoor light energy harvesting, which is Epishine's focus. You started very good, both of you, speaking about what we are trying to follow when it comes to the market. We are going into this digital transformation where we need so much data, because everything that you want to digitalize needs more data, and often you need data from the physical world to do things digital. And actually, in a lot of cases, the request for more data is very, very high, because that would make better systems possible. But to get that data, you get into problems to power sensors that you place remotely, or to power small displays that you have up in for example, the supermarkets and retail that you see today. So for example, in one big superstore, you could have like 15,000 batteries to replace for the small displays, shelf labels, and also when you come to huge real estate companies, it gets like 10,000s or tens of thousands of batteries to replace over time. So the batteries actually gets the bottleneck. They need more data. They are interested to buy more sensors and more smart things, but they need a better way to handle the power management or the power supply. So that's why the industry speaks a lot about energy harvesting, meaning that they need to find ways where this low power electronics could harvest their own energy and don't need cords that are expensive to install, and don't need batteries or battery replacements, which is a heavily maintenance problem. So when you should harvest energy that you have in the physical world around those sensors, we speak about harvesting heat or vibrations or radio in different ways, or light. And we are focusing on the situations where you don't have heat or vibrations. You have RF in some kind of radio in the most of the places, but it's so little to harvest of that kind of energy compared with the light, even indoors. And our focus is to help this kind of electronic to be powered by light, then even indoors. Another question that you often think about when you think about this kind of energy sources is what happens when you turn off the light, and which kind of devices would work with this. But the behavior actually would be the same as with a battery, because combining this kind of energy harvesting component with a small capacitor, a small supercap, will make the same behavior as a self-recharging green battery. And you also get out all of the dangerous goods declarations and makes much greener products by using capacitors and our solar cells, for example, instead of batteries. So is there enough light then to power this kind of devices indoors? Because we have a very efficient low energy lamps or lighting in most places, and is there enough? So if you look how much you typically have measured with lux here, you see that it's it's a lot of different figures, and if you look around, you see that it's not white light in the corners in a room, etc. So the corner cases where you need this to work, to put sensors in the most places indoors, you need it to work where you have quite little energy, light energy harvest. And we have made a lot of pilot projects together with different customers to kind of evaluate how much energy do you have, how much light is it, and what is the corner cases where you need this to work. And we have found out if you make it to work where you have where the corner cases are between 50 and 100 lux, and you only have light daytime part of the day, if you make it work in those situations, you have a very viable and working system. And actually, we have made that work. That is a scope that works perfectly for us, and I think that is kind of why we are disrupting this, because before this kind of corner cases were not possible to power with the indoor lighting. And the reason to do that is that we have a new kind of solar cell that are better than, for example, silicon when you have very low light, like in those cases we look at. And we also have a lot of flexibility in the form factor. And as you see on this image, we are doing the solar cells bigger than you normally have seen in like calculators and a few sensors that have started with solar cells before. And we need this both better efficiency at low light, and we also need a bigger area to cover this kind of systems that we would like to power and make digital solutions batteryless. And we also have this plastic material, thin and flexible, that are very, very actually optional to integrate with the plastic housing that you have on the most of the electronics that you would like to power this way. So it's the whole process are much more fitting together. And a quick feasibility check, which kind of device is possible to power with only indoor lighting with our solar cells. And actually, if you have some kind of device that today are powered with small batteries like AAA batteries or coin cells or something, and the battery lasts for a year or more, then it's probably power efficient enough to be powered only with indoor lighting if they're using these kind of solar cells that I have shown before. So if some of them should be working with only indoor lighting, and you also think the corporate responsibility for the environment is important, we think that our solar cell is a very, very good solution for that. And in a few weeks, we will do our official product release of our first product based on this research project that has been like ongoing for like 30 years. So we will release a small light energy harvesting cell, not that small, semi-small, smaller than normally solar cells, but compared with the calculators, it's a bit bigger. And it's 2 times 5 centimeters, or 3 times 5, or 5 times 5. As a standard layouts, and it's also possible to get customized in the proportions that you would need for your device. And at the same time, we are releasing a new evaluation kit with this kind of solar cell integrated and the normal electronics that you would like to have to make something behave the same way as a battery. So And already now we have those in stock. So if you're interested to have some samples or order some, just contact us on our sales@epishine.com address. Yeah, so that was my introduction.
Not only was that a great presentation, you were absolutely perfect in time, Mattias.
Thank you.
So we look forward to your launch. And I have a question for you. Let's see, what is the lifespan and performance of organic PV material compared to other materials such as perovskites or dye sensitized?
So I compare with perovskites. There are some advantages in the timeline, how mature the technology is. So we have a better life length than perovskites. I know very little about the data for dye synthesizer. I think we are equal. And one reason that we're starting indoors is that we have the life length that these kind of components need for the indoor cases. So it's 10 years life length on those kind of products that we're shipping right now, and this is increasing. So in a number of years we will have 25 years outdoors as well. But right now is the moment where you have life length enough to start doing things indoors.
Wonderful. I think we stop there. Thank you so much, and good luck with your launch. We'll follow you and say hello to Linköping.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So and please what's the name? Share your screen. So take it away. Let's see. Do we have Hans around?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Here is Hans. So please share your screen and get going.
With a little luck, you.
You're ready. I see you loud and clear.
Thank you, Magnus. So my name is Hans Nottehed. I'm the founder of a company called Vourity. So the topic for today is obviously electrification, and we will try and help you actually get paid and earn money for the electricity or the electrification service that you typically provide. So Vourity is a software as a service platform for what we call self-service payment, sales, and delivery. And what this means is basically enabling companies to sell their services without human interaction. So sort of fits very well with the disturbing times of COVID-19, but still making it possible for companies to earn money. One example here is electric vehicle charging, where this is growing like nuts. And we see there are challenges and needs to make the EV charging much more efficient when it comes to handling payments. So we strongly believe in open payment methods. And when something is easy to use and if it's easy to charge, we think that will drive the transition towards a greener mobility and a greener world. And as it is today, it's unfortunately, it's actually more difficult to charge and pay for the charging of your EV car than it is to use a petrol car. And if those of you that have an EV or have tried to drive an EV, you know that actually getting to a charging site and getting the charging started is quite of a hassle. You often have to have a subscription with one of the charging operators that happens to drive or operate the charging site. You have to bring a batch of 20-something RFID tags or different types of starting cards in your pocket, or you have to find the correct mobile app to get the charging site started. So if you haven't been at the charging site before, it can take you quite a long time and be quite annoying to get the charging started. It has even come to the point that, at least here in Sweden and parts of the Nordics, that the government has started to recognize this as a problem. So the guy here is part of the Swedish government, and they are saying that if the EV market isn't shaping up, they will start regulating things and pushing requirements on the market to actually implement better payment solutions. further to this, when you're building an EV site, it requires some significant investments. It can be quite forward heavy. You have to install a fairly powerful cable to get there, to get the energy of the charging. You have to invest in the chargers, dig up the ground, and so forth. So the charging operators are trying to find ways to actually earn money, not only in the long run, but also in the short run. So what we are proposing and what many charging operators are looking at is how can we transform the charging sites into some sort of micro market where you can generate new revenue streams, not only on the charging, but also on other things. What you have is you have people there waiting 20 minutes to charging. So it could, for example, be vending machines where you're selling things, you have paid access, you can have sharing resources and click and collect, and so forth. So the solution would be our cloud, where we can have different types of sales channels. And the one I would like to present to you today is for example, a payment terminal that allows EV chargers to pay for the charging using any open payment methods like credit cards, Apple Pay, Swish, and so forth, without actually having to pre-register any subscriptions or pre-registering any RFID tags and so forth. These payment terminals can actually be adapted and changed to whatever needs and payment methods that are required at the site. For example, in Sweden, Swish as a mobile payment option is very popular, but other countries have other payment methods. What is also interesting is that we can define the sales process fully graphically, so there is no programming needed to cater for different types of sales process flows. For example, if you are a supermarket or a company parking, you might have different needs compared to public charging and other situations. What you do is you define the sales process graphically, combining financial flows, payments, as well as Internet of Things operations, for example, switching on power, even turning on lights, opening doors, and so forth. So you combine this just by dragging and dropping in a graphical flow. To give you an example, the payment terminals could be installed on one charger, allowing you, of course, to pay, select power and connectors and so forth. But you can also set up payment stations similar to what you have in some fossil fuel petrol stations, where you select one charger from a payment station and then select which one where you have parked the car, and you can only need one payment station for multiple chargers. We support all payment methods available depending on the region and so forth, obviously standard credit cards and so forth. You can also earn money by working with resellers and partners and making product bundles where you combine your services with other company services. For example, bundling an EV charging session with a cup of coffee or a tourist attraction. You manage everything, of course, in the cloud. There is nothing to install locally. And we as a company are very focused on ensuring that we leave a planet for our children that is actually habitable. So we try to follow as many as possible of the UN global goals. And here are a few examples of those that we are working heavily with. I hope I am in time here, Magnus.
You're perfect in time. So is that it? Thank you so much, Hans.
Yes.
I have a question for you right away from the chat.
Sure.
How do you position Vourity compared to other payment provider solutions?
So Vourity is focused on the, let's say, connected types of services and payments. So other payments providers are typically linked to e-commerce or shops. But we focus on the let's say IoT type of services, where we have the IoT device itself is the delivery of the product or the service by opening a door, switching on power, and so forth.
Great. So we have some investors as well on the call, and so can you just briefly tell us about the status of your company, and are you interested in or looking for investors?
So far we have bootstrapped, so we invested ourselves. We sold previous companies, so we had a little bit of money in the pockets that we could use. Investors are always welcome, and we launched our services actually now in August. So we're just now signing up and installing the first customers. There's a lot of interest.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Hans. And please don't forget to unshare. Oh, you have already unshared the screen. So thank you so much. And let's jump over to, well, again, this is too often, our only woman presenting in this event. Karin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much. And I hope that I will be able to share my screen and not be sort of thrown out this time as I was last time. It was like falling on my staircase up to the screen. So
that's fine. You're welcome. So share your screen and take it away.
Have I succeeded?
Yes, you're right. You're there.
Great. Thank you so much, Magnus and everyone, for having us. As you all know, that the CO2 levels are the highest in 66 million years. And you can think that we are heading on the road to disaster, but I'm quite positive that we can make a U-turn for a better and a brighter freedom and future for transportation. And as you all know, transportation stands for quite high effect on the total CO2 emissions of Sweden. In Sweden, it's 30%, and I know it's a bit lower in the rest of Europe, but it's still somewhere between 22 and 25% of the total CO2 emissions. And if we are to succeed and to meet the Paris Agreement, we need to do something about that. And quite recently, the Swedish government declared that they are willing to invest in electrical roads as one solution. And they are planning to build 2,000 kilometers of electrical roads within the next couple of years. So what have we done to solve this? We have developed a smart and connected rail that we put on top of the asphalt, and we also have a version that we submerge into the asphalt. And here you see the one that we have installed in Lund, where we are operating a bus line of 1 kilometer electrical road. And we can transfer up to 300 kilowatts with 90% efficiency. And for those who are interested in the more technical details, although I must admit, I'm not an engineer, my background, I used to work as a lawyer, so bear with me, I'll try to explain to you. When the vehicle comes running over the rail, it will send an encrypted radio signal to the rail, which will unlock it in very short segments. And the short segments is this unique solution for our technology, is that since we distribute powers in only 1 meter at a time, it will be very much so under the vehicle, which means if you have it in a city, you can walk both behind it and in front of it, and you will not be electrocuted. So we work very hard on that. And we have to have power transmitters, so power stations every kilometer. And for us, ABB and power grids are very interesting partners to collaborate with, and we have a lot of ABB products within our rail. And besides being able to charge, we have also equipped the rail with a lot of sensors like temperature, shaking, so we can know if a vehicle is fully loaded or half loaded or empty, and we will also be able to identify and communicate if there's like a part of the road that has a very slippery and freezing temperature. So, and we will also have antenna or radar installed, so we will be able to look around the corner, which will facilitate for autonomous driving in the future. So obviously we see roads as one solution, but electrical roads and other charging infrastructure is a bit misleading, because we are a charging infrastructure. We can replace charging poles, and that would be quite preferable in a city where there are different stakeholders that can share the same infrastructure. It's a more inclusive infrastructure. So if we have this public transportation. It can also be used by last mile delivery or taxis or other commercial vehicles that need to have a high uptime and be operating at all times. I just wanted to show you some projects that we are involved with, so you don't think that this is just a desktop product or a wishful thinking in the future. We are actually building our first road in Lund, and we have a collaboration with DHL doing automatic park chargers. And this is not a scientific study, but apparently in the terminal in Malmö, they have 2 vans, electrical vans, one with cord and one with our system. And the driver of our system is much happier at work because he doesn't have to do handling cords all the time. He just runs over the rail and he will turn off the key and charging will start. And actually the software in the rail will distribute the power over the time. So I would say that our smart system will facilitate the transition into electrification because it will be able to manage peak power because we communicate with each batteries for each individual vehicle at all time, and we can allocate exact amount of power to that. So why is this interesting? Yes, because we will facilitate customers to achieve and lower their carbon footprint. It will be a lower total cost of ownership because you will reduce battery sizes and save time and money because you don't have to stand still. And we want to introduce the concept of range happiness. You will be able to drive as long as you want, and you don't have to stand still and buy other things. You can just stop whenever you want. It's a very fast global market, growing global market. We have discussions both here in Sweden, but there are interests in France, Germany, and also California. We have discussions with LA Metro to introduce this kind of concept. And we see from our perspective that we will have multiple revenue streams, not only for selling the infrastructure and the maintenance, but also collecting data generated by the traffic that runs on the rails. And we are on our journey. It has started, but of course we are always looking for partners, new projects, and perhaps new investors as well. We are currently fundraising. This is the team that executes these ambitions. So we believe in diversity. So we have engineers both from LTH, Chalmers, and KTH. Me being the only non-engineer, and we have a prototype production facility in Lund where we are situated. And we are driven by the fact that we want to reduce CO2 within transportation to facilitate increased comfort and increased growth, but reducing our carbon footprint. So if you want to know more, please contact me.
Excellent, Karin. Very good. In time. Do we have any questions? I haven't received any on the chat, so let's see if we get some. I find it interesting that you have engineers globally, both from Gothenburg and Lund.
I know, we try to be very diverse.
Do you have any questions, or should we leave it there? You have all your opportunities to contact Karin afterwards. So I think we jump on to next speaker. Thank you so much, Karin. Say hello.
Thank you.
Take care. Martin, are you around?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
South. We're now going to Malmö.
Yes. I think this is the
screen and take it away.
Very good. You should be seeing my screen now.
Yeah. Presentation mode.
If I can get it into presentation mode.
Yeah. Here we go.
Right.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you. So my name is Martin Rugfelt, and I'm the CEO and founder of Sentian.ai. And we are a AI company that helps large companies transform themselves through AI. And let me start off by introducing you a little bit more to Sentian. So we try to be a leader in industrial AI solutions. And to prove that, we've had several technical breakthroughs. I'll tell you a little bit about it. And we have a very experienced AI team here, and we've so far become recognized a few times for our technical and business excellence. Most recently by Ny Teknik and the 33 list here in Sweden. And we have also great customers. So what I'm going to tell you a little bit about is electrification and AI, as we are an AI company. And the way we see things is that some of the problems that we are discussing with our customers is that there is a wind, solar, geothermal, low energy district heating, local and grid scale batteries, mixed sources of energy, and so on, that are all cooperating to deliver us energy and electricity. However, this creates a number of challenges as we go forward, because the basic load production will ideally not overproduce or underproduce, and that becomes a challenge when there are so many other producers in the network. And you also have to look at the large scale investments that these companies need to do, where if you're building a new power plant, or if you're investing in a new district heating network, or electricity grid, and so on. And if customers are opting out because they're producing their own energy, then that might become a bit of a challenge. So what we see, there is a high need for both making sure that we have the utmost efficiency in the systems, so that we produce what we should produce as efficiently as possible, but also flexibility. And that's where AI can help. And in the case of us, we have two products that we think are ideal. We have our Icon product that is striving for intelligent autonomy, and we have our intelligent optimization solution, which is more mathematical optimization. Let me start off by saying a few words about Icon. So it is a unique solution that makes industrial control systems more adaptable to changing environments, that they can handle more complexity and create higher flexibility. And this is based on a new technology and breakthroughs in reinforcement learning. And what we're really talking about is that there are a lot of challenges in the industry today. The industry as such is very high dimensional, non-linear, and stochastic in its nature, while these existing industrial solutions that control these processes are really not very adaptive, and they are reactive instead of proactive. They are linear as opposed to the non-linear world that we live in. So there are a number of challenges for these existing solutions to handle variations in input parameters, deviations in product quality, scrap levels, slow adaptation cycles, speed versus quality, and so on. And all of these problems lead to lower yield than optimum, and higher cost and higher scrap, and lower quality of product and solution, and other operational issues. So what we really think is that there is a really big need for a new generation of these control and industrial systems. And what we've done here is we have a new generation of AI to deal with this. Because we found that the modern AI that is available today in machine learning wasn't quite ideal to deal with this. So we really needed to look at the very latest. And what we found was the model-based reinforcement learning area. And this has a very transformative effect on the market. So there are some new capabilities or the main capabilities of this solution that can deal with reasoning around this controlled process, understanding of sensor data. It works on a scenario basis, so it creates a forward-looking view of the system in order to be able to optimize it. And it's very scalable. And one more thing that is really interesting when you talk about AI is that usually you require a very large amount of data, while this is very, very sample efficient. So you can even run this kind of system with very much little data instead, or very much, well, little data, basically. So it is really a new generation of these control systems, and it can be implemented from the level of PLC, DCS, all the way to SCADA, and all the way up to an APC level, and in certain other settings too. And it has a wide applicability for process and manufacturing industry, as it works with these kind of things that we do real world simulation of what's going on. It is very adaptive. It deals with planning and optimization on a continuous basis, and it's goal oriented, so it's very easy to work with the settings for it. So what we use it for is maximizing yield, reducing cost of operation, increasing autonomy, and making sure that man-machine really works well together. And we apply it to a range of different situations, anything from optimizing how machines and motions is happening to process optimization, which is most interesting from this particular case with HVAC system, optimizing power plants, but other operations too. And then we have machine calibration, and you can work with machine calibration and optimizing that as well as configuration. So moving on to the other product that we use here is our intelligent optimization, which is also based on technical breakthroughs. We actually broke the current world record for non-linear optimization in the QIP category last year. And we apply this to planning, supply chain and logistics, and also to other applications, and in this particular case to district heating that I will tell you about in a minute. So we use this for a range of making sure that you can optimize these processes in a very, very fast way. And we see improvements in this system for up to 30% depending on the application. So getting back to where we started, AI and the electrification, and in this particular case, how to deal with the fact that we're getting more wind, more solar, more geothermal, more of these low energy district heating, local and grid scale batteries, etc., and mixing this whole thing up. At the same time as we need to be really careful and effective with our investments in new technology and maximizing the usage of what we already have. So what we see is a real need in the market for optimizing the production facilities that you have today, optimizing the distribution of energy in various forms, maximizing and optimizing the mix and the flexibility around having this, and also being able to be flexible in production and draw down on electrical batteries, etc., if you need that, or things like that. So a very exciting market where we have a lot of discussions today. And just to finish off a few cases that we've already been working on, district heating optimization, the challenge was really to see if we could improve on having a more stable but high production by making better forecasts of what would be needed. We also had local assets, effectively large housings, where we could optimize the individual assets and get very high improvements. And we successfully did that with very nice general improvements, and as well as very high peak improvements, where you could lower the effective peak load on the overall system in order to have a more effective use of your assets. Another case is optimization of a power plant. In this particular case, they were running that based on an APC, an advanced process control with fuzzy logic. And the challenge was really to get the whole system to have a more stable performance despite being fueled by municipal waste, and which has a fairly high variability comparatively. And there we see improvements potential for 4 to 5% where we have implemented our system. Right, so that was a bit of a summary of what Sentian is all about, and how we touched into electricity. Have you got a challenge? Then please contact us and let's meet. We've also recently released a white paper where you can get on our website, so sentian.ai/AIoT. And I guess that was it, really.
Perfect, Martin. Excellent. And yeah, it's always interesting to listen to you and your progress and your customers and everything. We don't have any questions from the audience. Maybe you should say something about potential investments and stuff like that.
Sure. We are a self-funded company that was founded back in 2016. And we've had a very nice ride. And evolved the company to a size around 20 people. And we are considering taking external funding as our products now have matured to a level of scaling. So if there's anybody that wants to approach me around that, that would be an interesting discussion.
Great. I think we stop there because I don't see any more questions from the audience. They will come afterwards, I'm sure. So thank you so much, Martin, and have a good evening in Skåne. And we will turn to Björn. Are you around, Björn?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. With the sun. Here comes the sun.
Yes, I'll see if I can share the screen. Here we go. Share. Do you see me now?
Absolutely perfect. Just take it away.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Björn Modée. I am the CEO of High Performance Solar Technology, HPS. Our mission is to help people make intelligent and profitable investments in solar energy systems for a sustainable future. And let me see if I can switch pictures here. So the Swedish solar market or market for solar energy can be looked at from many different perspectives. And one perspective, which perhaps is a little bit simplistic, but still good, is by looking at the main players, or as they say in the movies, follow the money. There are wholesalers. Actually, basically, there are only two wholesalers supplying parts and material to the great majority. We can call this great majority craft companies with limited liabilities. These craft companies typically have deep roots in construction, mostly roofing, electricity, or plumbing. And as with all carpenters, some are very good and some are maybe not so great. We have a select few players with a very strong focus put on R&D, making sure that the solar future we are building today is the best that we can have. These companies are attracting quite a lot of investments, and rightly so. Finally, we have what I like to call the professionals, a baker's dozen of larger companies setting the framework and building the foundations of the market. HPsolartech is one of those professionals. But we are also different. We think in industrial terms. And industrial for us means systems, standards, modules, efficient production flows, and other rather boring things for dinner conversations. Perhaps it's because we have roots in the auto industry. Perhaps it's because we're maybe a bit lazy. We don't like to fix things that break, so we make them unbreakable. Or perhaps we're just a little bit boring. That would be scary. We have our own sourcing. We innovate and manufacture everything under our own brand. And then we create standardized platforms on top of which we assemble a limited range of final and complete solutions. Solutions for solar energy productions we know work. Innovation can mean many things. In the HPS universe, innovation means taking proven technology and making it more suitable for its place and purpose. We want all our solar installations to be robust, and we want them to be safe. Safe both for the owner, but also safe for our staff who build the stuff and put all the parts together. We always look for improvements in the assembly and manufacturing process, and we never lose focus on the environment. For example, we have reduced the amount of aluminum in several of our mounting systems by 80%, while making them safer and more robust at the same time. We call this the HPS Nordic series. This philosophy of robustness may all sound obvious and easy, but I promise you, the HPsolartech bricks, putting them together has been no easy journey. We had to build the perfect team with several unique competencies, and we had to design and integrate all our systems so they fit together. And we have to, on a regular basis, work closely with the fire department, insurance investigators, experts, and our own trade organization to help to define guidelines and standards for this young and inexperienced industry. But we are pretty proud of what we have achieved so far. We have a complete system, bolts to support. In Swedish, we normally say from screws to support, which sounds better in Swedish, but translates rather badly into English. But to quote Bilbo, this road goes on and ever on. And there are things today that we still need to address. For example, the elephant in the market. A lot of installations today are substandard, and frankly, many are not even safe. So as part of our daily work, we have started the initiative Safe Solar Power, working together with Sweden's largest insurance company and the Swedish firefighting authorities and several industry experts. We're trying to work out minimum levels of requirement for solar power plants, because power plants is really what people put on their roofs. And as a company, we have just begun the journey to move to the next stage, a stage where we see the market slowly maturing and consolidating. And going forward, this is a future in which we believe we do need some strong partners who share our core values in this energy market, which continues to grow exponentially. So that's a short presentation of high performance solar technology. Thank you. Any questions?
So absolutely great, Björn. Thank you so much. I have a question from the audience here.
Yeah.
Björn, are you working mostly with silicon as a semiconductor for solar, or also working with thin film tech?
Today, we're only working with silicons. We're only working with monocrystalline silicon, which is the mature technology. We're not strangers to starting to work with thin solar solutions or other materials or what's around the corner. But today, we don't think the market is mature enough, or the product technology for the applications we're using them for, outdoor and power production.
Okay, great. So, and what about the state of your company and so forth for the investors we have with us?
We are so far more or less self-funded by staff and private equity. We have one external shareholder, which is a large Swedish insurance company, which kind of forces us into this road of safety consciousness. But we are currently looking at partners, because we feel that now, as we're growing and this market is growing really quickly, we probably need someone else to take shoulders on.
Are you selling or active only in Sweden, or are you also abroad already?
Currently, we're only active in Sweden. We're looking into the other Nordic markets. The reason we haven't looked outside of the Nordic market is what we do is really trying to optimize the technology for the conditions that are relevant up here.
Great.
Right.
Thank you so much, Björn, and good luck with your onward. You are the closest to Stockholm so far, I guess, because I think you're in Uppsala, isn't that right?
Yes, we have our main headquarters in Uppsala. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and unshare your screen, please.
Yes.
So we are already, and our time goes fast when you enjoy yourself. We are already at the final speaker, who is Jonas. Are you around, Jonas?
Yes, I'm around, and also in Uppsala.
Yeah, excellent. So yeah, I make that point because a lot of people believe that we're only working in Stockholm or things, but this is quite interesting. I think only one of the companies are actually from Stockholm today. Anyway, so welcome, and share your screen and take it away.
Perfect. Thank you. And I hope I pressed the right buttons here so that you can see my screen.
It works.
Perfect. And thank you, Magnus, for the introduction and all. Thank you to all the other speakers. It's been an interesting evening. My name is Jonas Thyni. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Tvinn. Our vision is to create solutions that reduce humankind's impact on the environment. And we develop smart energy systems that accelerates the world's transition to a fossil-free society. And as you heard in previous presentations, and as you know, if we want to reach our environmental goals, we need to reduce our emissions. And we need to shift to clean energy production and to emission-free transports. And that is what we're working on. And the path that the transport industry has chosen is electrification. And the number of electric vehicles is going to grow a lot in the coming years. So here you see on the left side a prognosis of the share of electric trucks that are going to be in the fleets. And on the right side, it's the sales prognosis of electric vehicles and hybrids in Sweden. And I think it looks the same in the rest of Europe also. So the number of EVs gonna increase, and the number of commercial electric vehicles gonna increase a lot. And these vehicles, they need a lot of power when they're gonna charge. And as you see in this graph, the power required for commercial vehicles in Holland in 2035 is going to be around 3,000 megawatts. And that is as much power as the Forsmark nuclear power plant can produce. So you understand that this is, the EV is going to demand a lot of power. But the challenge with that is that the grid doesn't have the capacity to deliver the power at many locations. And this already today limits the conversion to electric vehicles for transport operators. It also limits the new business to establish the industries to increase their production and so on. And digging new cables is very expensive. It takes a lot of time with permissions. Can take up to 10 years to get permission to dig a new cable. So we need to find a solution elsewhere if we want to electrify our vehicles. And a government investigation state that for solving capacity challenges, we need to develop new methods and technology for flexible use of electricity and to use energy storage. And so that is what we're working on. An example how this capacity problem limits the conversion to electric vehicles is the new city bus depot in Uppsala, here in Uppsala. They want to have 60 electric buses, but the capacity from the grid limits them to have around 10 to 12. And this is because the vehicles, the buses, they don't have enough range to run a whole day without charging. So in the morning, there's a lot of buses out in the morning traffic. And when they come back after that, they need to charge in the middle of the day to be able to do their evening traffic. That means there's a lot of vehicles coming in at the same time in the middle of the day, and they want to charge. And that creates a high power peak. And that power peak is what limits the conversion of the electric buses. And so you need to charge the electric buses smarter. You need to know which bus is going to need charging at the right time. You need to know how much power is going to be needed to run the specific traffic that they're going to do in the evening. And so together with our software solution and the energy storage, we can create a solution where the bus depot can have around 50 electric buses with the same grid connection. And if you add the local energy production, then you can increase that even more. So what we done, Tvinn offers services and products to transport industry, manufacturing industry, and property owners that optimize the power usage and frees up capacity. So that is kind of the core of what we're doing. So together with our solution partners that provide energy storage solutions and also local energy production solutions, together with our software, we can create this type of solutions. And we're a startup based, as I said, here in Uppsala. And we have a great team with solid knowledge and experience in designing distributed advanced systems from the transport industry, from the energy sector, and from machine learning. And we're creating a software project called Twin Nebula that is a smart energy platform. And it consists of three parts. One is the smart charging part, where we schedule and plan the charging of the vehicles. And the second part is the energy management system part, where we control the charge and discharge of the local energy storage based on the schedule. And the third part is an aggregator software where we can offer capacity and flexibility back to the electric grid and create secondary revenues by doing so, which can create revenues for the asset owner of the energy storage and create a better return on investment. So we offer cost savings on power and energy. We can enable large-scale conversion to electric vehicles, and we can enable secondary revenues from flexibility and frequency markets. talk a lot about the transport side here, but we can also offer all solutions to facility owners. The energy production have a little bit of the same problem, but coming from the other side. And the production industry also have problems where we have industries, for example, here in Uppsala that have the same problem. They want to increase the productions, but they can't get more power from the grid. So they need to solve that somehow if they want to sell more, increase their production. We have strong partners and support. Together with Transdev and Scania, we've done a Vinnova-financed project where we have worked on this bus charging solution. And we applied for a step 2 in this project together with a lot of partners like ABB, Northvolt, Svealandstrafiken, Biodriv Öst, among others, Uppsala Universitet. And in the step 2, if we get finance, we're going to build a pilot installation in Västerås at Svealandstrafiken's depot there, where we're going to install 3 different types of energy storage and use the software to balance the charging and offer services back to the grid. And our long-term vision is to create a virtual power plant that consists of these controllable decentralized assets and create a virtual power asset where we can offer services back to the grid. Yeah, and that's what I had to say. I hope you have some questions and
Excellent, Jonas.
That you hear me.
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear. Thank you so much, Jonas. Let me see. I don't think I have any questions. I don't have any questions from the audience. So can you just say something about the stage of your company and your view on investors? Let's put it that way.
Yeah, so far we're self-invested. We have, but we want to increase and accelerate the pace of the development of the systems, and we have a lot of interest from customers. So we are interested in discussing with the financial partners. We also applied for quite a lot of research projects together with KTH, Uppsala Universitet. So we'll see about how those turn out, but it looks promising.
Great. So I think we stop there. Thank you so much, Jonas. And
thank you.
And please share your screen. I have to learn that word. So with that, we come to an end. You know, time flies when you have fun. And to me, those kind of this hour and a little bit more, it's so inspiring and it gives me so much energy, and I really feel good when I see all those great companies. And this is actually, I guess, the reason why Linda and I do things, because a lot of larger companies have been into innovation work and efforts over the years. They have experienced that if they start with 2 small companies or 2 young companies, there is a big chance or risk that when they try to scale up later on, it fails. So that's why we at Things in our little club, we only work with what we call corporate ready companies. And all the ones you saw today, they are corporate ready. They are ready to sell. They're ready to engage themselves in real business partnerships with customers around the world, actually. So I hope you appreciate that. And if you want, we are self-funded, we have always been, and we need members and people working with us. So if you have any interest in joining us, drop me an email. It's very cheap to be part of this little club. It's about 1,200 euros a year, so everybody can afford that. With all that, I also want you to give me feedback if you have any. We will, in the post event mail, we will have a little bit questionnaire, but you're more than happy to receive emails from you if you just have a feeling or an idea or a question, or if you want to know more about what we do or anything like that. So please feel free to drop emails. The last thing I will tell you about, to just notice, we are part of arranging what's called Sweden Innovation Days in November 17th to 19th. It's 3 days digital event, including 10 countries, and it's all about AI. So if you have interest to join that, it's all for free, and it's full of enormous amounts of presentations and things that you can probably spend 3 full days there if you like. But I think we'll add that URL on the mail that we will receive. So take a look at that. That's quite interesting. 100 corporates and 200 AI companies from 10 countries will collaborate over 3 days. So with that, I leave you for today. We actually, I think we are before time, which is great. So thank you so much. And thank you for bearing with us. And please come and join us again. Thank you. Bye-bye.